Thank you, Professor Guida. I will start my presentation about perception of Russian press regarding Romanian foreign policy. While studying the reports of Russian diplomats from Bucharest is now possible thanks to the publication of volumes from the Russian archives, analyzing the Russian press and the articles related to Romania remains an ideal. The reasons are varied, ranging from a lack of interest in this area to the absence of substantial collections of Russian periodicals in Romanian libraries. Only a few studies in Romanian and Russian historiography have been published in recent years, primarily focused on the Emperor Nicholas II visit to Constanța and the Romanian entry into the First World War. This raises several questions. Why is it necessary to study the Russian press? How do articles in the Russian press reflect official viewpoints? Are some alternative perspectives of Romania in the Russian press? There are some of the questions I will attempt to answer in the following lines. This paper is divided in three parts, starting with the general and moving to the specific. First, it briefly presents aspects of some Romanian-Russian relations at the end of the 19th century. Next, it offers some general observation on the Russian press at the beginning of the 20th century. And finally, the third and most important part examines how Romanian foreign policy strategy was pursued in Russian journals at the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century. The proclamation, the first some details about Romanian-Russian relations at the end of the 19th century from the Congress of Berlin. The proclamation of independence and its recognition at the Congress of Berlin marked a new stage in the evolution of the modern Romanian state. Until then, the Romanian principalities had been the object and not the subject of international relations. After 1878, there was a shift in the political-diplomatic landscape, bringing clear advantages to Romania. The early reign of Carol I was marked by Romanian-Russian cooperation from 1877 to 1878, which secured independence. However, it was compensated by the loss of the three districts in southern Bessarabia. In the following decades, the Russian Empire decision fueled growing resentment in the Romanian society, seen as an act of betrayal by the ally of 1877. After the Congress of Berlin confirmed independence, Romania needed to define an external strategy. Recently, historians have shown particular interest in the relationship between the old Kingdom of Romania and Austro-Hungary. The alliance treaty between Romania and Austro-Hungary, signed on October 1883 and joined by Germany by the same day and Italy 5 years later, remained the most important act of Romanian foreign policy until First World War. So, in this period, Romanian-Russian relations after 1878 were tense and marked by mutual distrust. The Russian government needed only southern Bessarabia to recognize Romanian independence after 1878. Following the signing of the treaty between Romania and Austro-Hungary, Romanian-Russian relations had a complex evolution in the first decade. Russian diplomats in Bucharest suspected that Romania was aligning more closely with the Central Powers. However, they were never certain if their neighbor had made a decisive step towards an alliance. Additionally, it was believed in St. Petersburg that Romanian policy leveraged the antagonism between Russia and Austro-Hungary, with the expectation that Romania would declare its neutrality in the event of a conflict between these powers. Between 1888 and 1893, Romanian-Russian relations worsened, marking the most challenging period since 1878. This problematic phase began with suspicion among Romanian authorities that members of the Russian legation in Bucharest were involved in the peasant armed spring of 1888. But in the year 1893 marked two significant alliances for Romania. A direct one through the marriage of Prince Ferdinand to Princess Maria of Edinburgh, the niece of Tsar Alexander II, and indirect one through that Franco-Russian alliance. A defining feature of Romanian-Russian relations after 1893 was this dynastic connection, highlighted by many visits between the two courts. For example, Prince Ferdinand initiated a series of visits to Russia by attending the funeral of Tsar Alexander III who died in October 1894. This visit led the German ministry in Bucharest to make a remark on the improved relations between the imperial family and the royal family of Romania. The coronation of the new Tsar in 1896 followed about 2 years by sending the princely family, Ferdinand and Maria. King Carol demonstrated his careful attention to every event in foreign policy. This decision can also be seen as a signal to the Russian party of the opportunity to improve Romanian-Russian relations. But the re-establishment of Russian-Bulgarian relations in February 1896 marked a new phase in Russian policy, an aspect noted by King Carol. The Russians obtained important victory. Now, some details about Russian press at the end of the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century. We know that in Imperial Russia, there was a strong connection between the state and the press. For example, the St. Petersburg Vedomosti, Russia's first newspaper, was established by a decree from Peter the Great at the beginning of the 18th century. In autocratic Russia, press censorship played a crucial role in controlling the spread of ideas. By the end of the 19th century, newspapers proliferated, and at the beginning of the 20th century, Russia had 125 daily newspapers. One of the most Russian periodicals was Novaya Vremya, and was published in St. Petersburg from 1868 to 1917. It was highly regarded by foreign diplomats in St. Petersburg and read daily by Emperor Nicholas II. Also, officials from Russian foreign ministries sometimes published articles in Novaya Vremya. Another important newspaper was Moscowski Vedomosti, was published from the middle of the 18th century, of course, until the revolution from 1917. Founded with the printing house of Moscow University, it was formally associated with the university until the beginning of the 20th century. And I have also more information about Bezheve Vedomosti, Ruskoye Slovo, most important periodicals from Russia at the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century. My analysis begin in 1896, marked Emperor Franz Joseph visit to Sinaia, and I covered 6 years until the beginning of the 20th century, until November, the 25th anniversary of the conquest of Plevna. Almost 60-70 articles from the Russian press in that period regarding Romania and regarding Romanian foreign policy. We can observe here from the visit of Franz Joseph to the visit of King Carol, the visit of Grand Duke Alexander Mikhailovich to Constanța, and of course the last one, the visit, very important, of King Carol in Bulgaria. So the first visit was in 1896, marked Emperor Franz Joseph visit to Sinaia and Bucharest, during which the alliance treaty between the two states was renewed in September the same year. During this visit, Russian and French diplomats from Bucharest speculated about Romanian foreign policy. I believe that Russian diplomacy once again became convinced that Romania had taken a decisive step toward the Triple Alliance, and this time had received information through many channels. But, however, these details were inaccurate, and they did not even know the treaty content. In the Russian press, articles about Romania began to appear from the moment they learned of the Austro-Hungarian Emperor visit in July 1896, with coverage continued through October. Reviewing these newspapers revealed some very interesting perspectives. For example, it was rightly noted that this visit was the first one by the Austro-Hungarian Emperor to a state in southeastern Europe. Previously, he had been the one to receive the sovereigns of these states. His visit to Romania was interpreted as an ally with the Triple Alliance, even as an official entry into this alliance. It is notable from an official standpoint, Franz Joseph visit had great significance. It marked the first visit by a major sovereign from a great power to Romania in 20 years since May 1877 when Emperor Alexander II passed through Romanian territory en route to the Balkan Peninsula. The Russian press attempted to identify the architects of this visit and the factors that led to such a meeting. Some newspapers attributed a significant role in the visit preparation to Austro-Hungarian Foreign Minister, Agilor Maria Golukovski, who served as Minister Plenipotentiary in Bucharest for 7 years. As a result, the Austrian official was he knows very well the situation in Romania and had established a strong connection with King Carol. In the summer of 1896, Russian newspaper highlighted another aspect concerning the power dynamic between Russia and Austro-Hungary in southeastern Europe. It was believed that with Russian and Bulgarian relations restored in the spring of 1896, the Austro-Hungarian monarch visit acted as a counterbalance to Russian diplomatic efforts south of the Danube. This move was seen as drawing Romania closer to the Triple Alliance, a shift interpreted as opposing Russia. Additionally, the idea of a Romanian-Greek alliance between two Orthodox states was encouraged by Vienna and directed against St. Petersburg. Building on this, the Russian press speculated about a Balkan alliance, which, with Russian support, comprising Bulgaria, Serbia, and Montenegro. In this context, it was suggested that Romania and Greece would make a bigger mistake if they allowed themselves to be swayed by Vienna. In the context of September 1896 visit, some Russian newspapers attempt to interpret its implication as enigmatic, either an act of courtesy or a demonstration of Austrian power against Russia. Regardless, they speculated that Romania was leaning toward the Triple Alliance. Other publications suggested that Bucharest political leaders had not made a decisive move towards an alliance with Austro-Hungary, noting that, and I quote, Serbia and Romania tend towards independent development and do not want to play the role of political planets revolving around the sun, around Austro-Hungary. And I end my quote, and that attempting to draw Romania closer to the Austro-Hungary would be a big mistake. Following the Franz Joseph visit to Romania, the next event was the visit of King Carol to Russia in the summer of 1898. He left Sinaia at the middle of July the same year, and of course the European diplomatic circles and the press offered many interpretations of this visit. In that period, in the Russian press, approximately 26 articles reflected the significance of the King Carol visit to Russia. In some articles from newspapers such Novoye Vreme and Russkie Vedomosti, the biographies of the Romanian sovereign, Prince Ferdinand and Queen Elizabeth, were highlighted, framing this visit a new beginning in the diplomatic relations between the two states. King Carol was depicted as a very earnest man with a perspicacious mind, while the liberal leader, Dimitrie Sturza, was described as a member of a Moldavian princely family. In the pages of Novoye Vreme, it was noted that Dimitrie Sturza had no sympathies for the Russian Empire. The pan-Slavistic press was even more explicit regarding the Romanian situation. For example, in Novosti, it was emphasized that because the history of Moldavia and Wallachia, two semi-Slavonic Orthodox principalities, were closely tied to Russian history, the young independent state of Romania could develop quietly and only with a brotherly relationship with Russia. Similarly, in an article published in Petersburgskaya Vedomosti, presented the late 19th century Romania from economic, political, and commercial perspective, and was a rhetorical question, and I quote, would that prosperity of Romania be possible without the 1877 liberation movement that Russia carried out on its shoulders? And I end my quote. Regrettably, it was noted that after Congress of Berlin, supporters of an alliance with Russia were in the minority in Romania and held no political influence. Regarding foreign policy strategy, it was considered that Romania had never fully aligned with the Triple Alliance, as its policy was always rooted in independence. While it was an acknowledgement that Romania, under the Brătianu government, had tightly toward the West, this was a sign of temporary orientation. Also, Romanian relations with the Triple Alliance were also analyzed in various newspapers. There was a belief that Romania was politically and economically dependent on Austro-Hungary and had no longer been under the influence of the alliance with the aim of preserving peace. It is very interesting that some articles also present a very interesting perspective, suggesting that Romanian foreign policy strategy was shifting following the Franco-Russian alliance from 1993. This development would have favored Russian policy, as Romanian consistently considered France a great political and cultural center. It is very interesting that in newspaper San Otecesva, that is mean the son of homeland, emphasized the blood ties between Romanians and French, considering them cousins, if not even brothers. By highlighting the Latinity of the Romanian, it was argued that they were representative of the Roman blood in the Balkan Peninsula and European par excellence. After King Carol's visit to Russia, of course, many articles were written about Romania and its foreign policy strategy, and these aspects appeared in the analysis of some Russian newspapers. In July 1901, during Grand Duke Alexander Mikhailovich visit to Bulgaria and Romania, 11 articles appeared in Russian press. The Grand Duke first visited the ports of Varna and Burgas and then met Prince Ferdinand of Bulgaria, making the first visit of a Russian Grand Duke to Bulgaria since the war of 1877-1878. In Constanța, the Grand Duke met with Romanian Prince Ferdinand in an event that the newspaper Peterburgski had almost greeted with sympathy. Nothing the arrival of the Crown Prince in the Black Sea port and warming or welcoming the member of the Russian imperial family. From the perspective of the same newspaper, a Romanian-Austrian military convention already seemed plausible. However, the meeting in Constanța was seen as an effort to bring Romania and Russia closer. This subject of Romanian-Russian rapprochement was also mentioned in Bergevedomosti, which noted that since 1898, so from the visit of King Carol in Russia, relations between Romania and Russia were based on mutual trust. However, the article suggested that Romania was caught between Russia and the Balkans, serving as an obstacle for Russian interest in Balkans. A few days after the Grand Duke visit, a Russian squadron under the command of Vice Admiral Hildebrand also arrived in Constanța, and of course some articles in Russian press about this visit. One of the articles is very interesting with the title Romania and Russia, and observe the very good relations between Romania and Russia until the end of the 19th century. Okay, I will try to say some conclusion. Starting with the fall of 1883, Romania became an associated part of the Triple Alliance, and we know this from very good articles in Romanian historiography. And after 1883, Romanian-Russian relations evolved seamlessly, marked by many tense moments and mutual distrust. In complementary to the Russian diplomatic documents, I have also analyzed almost unused sources, such as Russian journals and newspapers. Starting from the year 1896, marked by the visit of Emperor Austro-Hungarian to Bucharest, I conducted an analysis of the Russian press regarding Romanian foreign policy strategy and security strategy until the 1902, the time of 25th anniversary of the Russian-Ottoman War. I observed that Romania was coming under the magnificent glass of Russian journals, especially in the context of significant visits, Franz Joseph in Bucharest and King Carol in Russia, or rumors regarding the signing of conventions or alliance. such as possible Romanian Hellenic, Romanian Greek alliance, and Romanian Austro-Hungarian military convention. Against the backdrop of these events, many articles were published in the Russian press with different perspectives. We can identify several perspectives. Romania had approached the Triple Alliance versus Romania did not make the final step. Romania had very good relations with Austro-Hungary versus Romania and Russian relations were strained after 1878. Additionally, the pan-Slavistic press particularly emphasized the role played by the Russia in the formation of Romanian states, of the formation of Southeastern Europe, but especially in Romania, the moment from 1878 presented as a moment, a very important moment for the Romania and, of course, for the Russian interest in Romania. Thank you very much.